Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rouse case. Welcome if you're currently here in the live premiere. Today we're continuing on and thinking outside of the box, looking at some material I have never covered before on my channel at least. Today we're going to be taking a look at Dylan Round's Facebook account to see if there's any anomalies, any interesting photos shared, if there's any similarities or contrasting points compared to when we were looking at Dylan Round's TikTok page in the past. It might help people understand something. It might even generate new ideas. So that's what we're doing today. And who knows, for the locals in the area, whether it be Lucin or Montello, or simply people that have visited Lucin camping or searching for Dylan, this Facebook page or photos presented might trigger a memory, an idea by you, okay? And if you do, feel free to share your thoughts, opinions, reactions in the live chat box on the right hand side of the screen. And in addition to that, feel free to leave comments down below in the comment section. As well as the comment section, that's where you'll find all the links if you wish to visit them, including my previous video I uploaded on my channel from yesterday. Make sure to check that out. Very important video, raising awareness of current issues, as well as Idaho 4 coverage too. So, range of different stuff to get through today. In addition to all that, later on I'm going to be sharing some additional thoughts as for the future of the Dylan Rounds case, the what ifs, okay? Reflecting back as if you were in the future from now till then, looking back. So more about that later. Make sure to stick around to understand everything that's being talked about, to allow people to join on in so we're kind of all in sync with one another. I'm just going to refer back to the previous comments of the last video, catch up there, respond to some of the comments and acknowledge them, okay? And speaking of acknowledging, obviously I was asleep last night. Well, that's what people normally do when they go to bed. But that's when there was a live premiere, so I wasn't able to see the chat at the time, okay? But shout out to Cleo, of course, good individual for their super chats. It's very good of her to do that. And as well, shout out to Org as well. This time, Org's pet lizard decided to give a super chat, so that's very good. I mean, Org, I don't know what will happen next. Is, you're going to have a tarantula, a spider, like donate, maybe not donate, more like give Watcher Crazy a bit of a heart attack. I wouldn't say that's really donating. It's not much of a giving attitude, more of a you will take it regardless of the situation. But yeah, shout out to Org as well for their presence last night. And of course, all the people that did watch, because as for that video, I wasn't expecting too many people to watch it simply because of what it was about. It wasn't really about a particular case exact. And I didn't really tag anyone, but it's good that people got to see it, and the more people that see it, the more people that are aware of the current situation, okay? Some people said about Twitter or something, responding there to YouTube. I don't have a Twitter account at this moment in time. I did in the past, but got rid of it a long time ago. So I'll just see what happens next. If it's like really a complete lost cause and there's no sign of improvement, then I will reach out onto Twitter if that's possible, okay? But yeah, there's a range of different stuff to get through today. We'll follow it in a specific order so it's easier to understand. Without further ado, let's begin with the comments of the last video. Here we are, just adjust the comments newest. We do have quite a few to get through, but I don't think it'll take too much time. Cleo there, response, what's that with a sad face? I have seen recently these random default profiles popping up, but mainly only responding to Cleo. So I don't know what's going on there. Just a random pattern I've noticed in recent time. Let me know your thoughts, Cleo. Are you aware of it, or is it just random? Okay. What else do we have here? Jacqueline. Well, like Raf, have YouTube told you why this is happening? If you need to contact them, you're better off going on Twitter to YouTube team. I've heard good reports going that way around. One YouTuber had problems for over 6 months and got nowhere. They followed the Twitter route and got sorted out. If you've got posture problems, you need to take a few days off here and get a better chair to sit when you come back. Well, first of all, I have started using a chair now. It sounds a bit random, this, if anyone's listening. When I used to do the map analysis, you remember when I was going on the map, looking at all the key locations and areas, I used to do it and record it when I was bent over on the bed. That sounds very dodgy, that, especially the position I was in, but, you know, you bent over, you're laying on the bed, or kind of laying on the bed, you got your arms on the mattress, holding the phone and talking. So it was kind of a comfortable position, right? But I guess with leaning over, it was a bit awkward in the end. But I didn't really notice it at the time. It was just like afterwards when it did start kicking in, that discomfort. But I might have to answer it again to somebody else later on, but I didn't actually injure myself doing exercise or weights, because during the time of when it happened, I wasn't doing exercise back then due to that that illness with the family member, as I explained. So I was distracted there, so I couldn't do the weights. And then I was just sat down, and then that's how I messed up my back or shoulder area on the back. It's scapula or something like that. And that was from not doing exercise. It was from just simply sat down. So that was a bit weird. Now, to respond back to the first part of this comment, have YouTube responded back saying why? Well, basically YouTube explained, or the support team, or whichever, whoever you email, simply replied back and said, you're in the position you are because you've inaccurately rated your videos. And if you do it 4 times within a period of 90 days, then you're punished, and then you're in the position you are. So the self-certification score goes down, right? I have experienced this a couple of times. It happened once, maybe last year possibly, but it only lasted for a week or less. It was very dodgy, it was very weird, but it was resolved very quickly. And from then till going into the Dylan Rounds case, it was okay. So because I have experienced it kind of fixing itself, there is a positive at the end. It's just more so how long it will take, right? So, yeah, they've explained what's happened, but them labelling me being the one responsible for this problem is incorrect. It's their fault, right? Because them messing about. And yeah, I don't have Twitter at this moment in time. Sonola, popping in, whatever, yikes, big spider it was. And it was actually good timing, because when I showed the camera towards the spider, Watch Her Crazy popped on in. So that gave her a bit of a shock, okay? I think she was like, God damn, man. Something like that. Oh yeah, and Betty Hayward. I'll have to do a southern accent someday, of course. Bungee cord. I have noticed when I search for Dylan Rounds, your videos do not show up unless you deep dive 20 to 30 videos in. That tells me you're being suppressed by YouTube, as no one is anywhere near the number of videos on this. Hang in there. I kind of wish you would put out a next day short vid summarising your super long ones. I don't always have time to watch an hour plus. Fair enough. The reason why the videos are long is because it's in a live video premiere format. It's to enable people to continue their discussions in the live chat. If the videos are short, then the live chat won't work properly. Summarising it the following day, I guess, can work, but it's not always possible to summarise. I'm not good at summarising stuff always, because I don't normally do it, if that makes sense. If you think of summarising something very short, most effective is probably via YouTube Shorts, but it's so difficult to fit everything in and make it as clear and easy to follow, but short at the same time. It's a bit tricky. And the actual style and format of the Dylan Rounds case is different to the Kenny Veach case. With Kenny Veach, you'd be looking at one thing at a time, one theory at a time. With Dylan Rounds, you know, you're kind of looking all over because there's still those endless possibilities. The Dylan Rounds case, in a sense, doesn't feel as linear compared to the Kenny Veach story, if that makes sense. But what else was there? Red Rose, I'll look after to see how he organises each case videos. I don't know what that was, if it was mine or not. But just answer one more thing, okay, to Bungee Cord and anyone watching right now. Basically, whether it be Kenny Veach or Dylan Rounds, I personally could make as many videos as I possibly could. I could make about 10,000 videos on the Dylan Rounds case, and most of them wouldn't show up on the search bar. Is that because YouTube is suppressing me? No. I'll just add in one additional thing, okay, on top of that. Regarding my username, because I use custom text, I use custom font, okay? That's why my username looks unique, okay? Other people can do it themselves, right? If you copy and paste like a font text generator on a different website, copy and paste it onto your username wherever, okay? I actually reached out to YouTube regarding that because I was thinking that if people are unable to tag me at the time when the tag handle didn't exist, and you had to rely on a person's username, with custom font, it kind of makes it difficult to mention and tag people in post and videos and in the comment section and the live chat. So I reached out to YouTube with that in consideration, asking, does my username and my custom font affect search terms? Does it affect people reaching out to me? Because others in the past have said it's hard to find me and my videos. YouTube or Google support, whoever, reached back and said, no, it's all okay. Your username is fine. There are no issues. Just keep on going. So that kind of like highlighted that there wasn't really much of an issue nor a barrier, okay? But referring back to Bungee Cord, the reason why my videos won't show up immediately on the search results section is because with any category, any theme, topic on YouTube, the videos that show up first on the front page, regardless of how many years ago they were posted, it's all down to the views they receive, okay? Even the Kenny Veach case, although hardly anyone covers it, and really not many are covering it right now, okay? If you typed in Kenny Veach in the search term, most, if not all of my videos wouldn't show up on the front page, right? Even if I was still uploading videos right now. And that's just simply because like 5-6 years ago, you got DJ Cook, who, when I say cook, I mean COOK, like cooking food, okay? Nothing submissive, okay? But you had DJ who covered a one-off Kenny Veach video and it got like 500, 600,000 views. And then, you know, other YouTubers as well, big end channels that have covered a singular video. And because it was popular, it appears on top front page. Because my videos aren't as popular, they're not going to show at the top, right? But if you do use the hashtag feature, I can guarantee you majority of my videos will show up there because I've used all the hashtags over and over again consistently, both the Dylan Rounds case and the Kenny Veach case. So there are ways of finding my videos, so it's all on the screen at once. The other way, and it's the most practical, is basically if you're looking at the latest Kenny Veach or Dylan Rounds coverage, type it in on YouTube search, get the results up, and then alter the filter section, that'll be near to the search bar, click filter, and then change the relevance or the day, the date to the last week or the last month. And then it should show up with my videos, let's say, like with Dylan Rounds, okay? Hopefully that clears that up. Move on. Tainted Ink, Inky. I know it has not been too fun or easy for that matter, but please remember there are those of us that love your show. That's good to know as well. Shout out to Inky. If anyone is following Degen Island, whilst the mystery of the return of Raph to Degen Island remains unknown, in between, other people have uploaded videos covering and documenting their experiences on the island, okay? So if you want to see any other island vlogs, any other funny videos, feel free to check out Inky's channel, okay? You see it on screen. Just click there. It should be easy to find, okay? You go on the username, okay? And you can check it that way. As well, feel free to check out Betty Hayward's channel too. She's done some coverage as well. Some funny videos. So yeah, check them out. Move on. We got Victoria, my handsome man. So shout out to Victoria. Welcome back if you have returned. Appreciate what you say. How are things? Yeah. We got Tom. You have my support, so that's good of Tom. Red Rose. Long comment. Okay, what's this? It's disappointing how little care YouTube has for their clients and followers. Those like you who put a lot of work into your channel and person subjects you're covering. Yet we see the losers with zero skills or talent overusing and exploiting their YouTube channels for their absurd, dodgy shows where they do evil and childish things with theirs. Yeah. I mean, maybe some people are better off, maybe short term, because they might get boosters along the way, like what's, other people have suggested when it comes to the Dylan Rounds community. You never know. Where are we at now? Okay. YouTube obviously don't care if any harm comes to anyone in any way from the actions of those disgusting channels. It's repulsive how void of humanity Jim Terry, Mark Terry, and Salty Pancakes and others are of talent, intelligence, and the white trash who quite literally worship them and act like their world is over if their cult can't be at all. Grown ass men and women blubbering whilst butthurt over the stupidest and confused things there are. Then they go on YouTube and have a tantrum and make even bigger fools of themselves. You being targeted by Salty Pancakes for the time frame you just stated. I will never believe he's not still on meth. Everything he does, along with the time and energy he puts into being a bully and baby attacking others, makes it obvious. But everything that he does or says is 100% twack-brained. Never heard of that word, twack. Or, maybe it's meant with a T, but so they don't get censored. Fair enough. So, yeah, shout out to Red Rose for, putting the time in to share their thoughts and continue watching the videos, as well as focus on the Dylan Rounds case, because they have participated a fair bit at times. Okay, so shout out to Red Rose. Gorilla Jack, hang in there, Rafi. We love you, so appreciate that, Gorilla Jack. And as well, Gorilla Jack, I've got one question for you. I know you might not be able to respond right now because it's not a live call-in, but don't worry, Gorilla Jack. I can talk and speak on behalf of you because, as you know, I can do the voice. So, hello, this is Gorilla Jack. Yes, it's been a bit of a messy situation at the moment. Yes, but Gorilla Jack is waiting to pounce on Huggy Bear. I wonder how Huggy Bear will perform with the whip. I don't think he understands how to use it. Well, maybe I send Weedlebee out and she can teach him a lesson. Why? I don't know. I'm Gorilla Jack. I do whatever I want. Yes. Anyway, Gorilla Jack is busy. I need to move on because I got some premonitions to begin with. Yes. Hello and goodbye. Oh yeah, I'll tell you something about Huggy Bear. That's People were saying that the Bella V voice will mess up my throat and make it sore. I think it's more Huggy Bear because it's very fast and intense. Bella V, bit dragged out.
Whoa, yeah, it's me again. Why do I always sound like I'm recovering from something? Whoa, I think I've been attending too many AA meetings recently. Whoa, I think I need to tone it down a little bit. Anyway, just saying.
Yeah,
Huggy Bear, Matt Lingo, where are you? We're coming for you.
a bit of Hulk Hogan reference there. Yeah, I think with Huggy Bear, you do deep voice, fast, broken up English with a bit of a southern accent, a standard southern accent more so. My golly God, hey there, Betty Hayward, how y'all doing, y'all Arkansas? That sounded really southern, that, very realistic.
But you gotta do this, man. I need to get that banjo, man. Where the bamboo at?
That's the slightly deeper version, and then the really deep one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I think that's a bit too deep. I don't think Huggy Bear can go that deep in.
Oh, no, that's what she said.
Anyway, let's leave it there for now. Lone Wolf, that's okay because there are lots of YouTubers that are complaining that they're not making money anymore and they don't know what they're going to do. They're going to have to go out and get real jobs. Oh yeah, that's the word, complaining. I mean, Lone Wolf, whilst that can be true and applied to YouTubers out there, not everyone is complaining. Some people are just pointing out an issue. You know, complaining is like when we've seen those whingers and whiners.
Oh my god, man! What are you doing? You gotta take that video down, man! It's really offensive. It's really offending me. I don't care, man! I'll do whatever I want. I'm a high-end mole person. I don't care, man!
That's more of a whingy, whiny type thing, okay? But talking in a arguably monotone, flat voice, just simply pointing out, oh, we have a problem. It's a bit different. And as well, I believe Lone Wolf came from the Kenny Veach case community. He has followed, watched the videos since, so that's good of him. So, whilst you might get YouTubers out there who could be criticised or called out in some way or whatever, if people are watching those channels, if people have an issue with those channels but still watching them because they like the content or the material or the coverage or talk, then are some of those people out there in a position to complain if they're consuming, if they're a consumer? I wonder. Anyway, let's move on. We got Kim, hoping for the best for you and us. Your channel is one I enjoy and can count on. I think trying the Twitter thing might be a good try. Shout out to Kim, appreciate it. I'll probably look into the Twitter thing if it feels like there is no hope ahead, okay? With it being temporarily fixed in the past, I know that there is something ahead, right? It's just the uncertainty of how long. David, just smack the spider if the mofo bothers you. Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't just because I'd probably miss it. And then, it jumps onto my hand, onto my arm, and then it's game over from there. Get Huggy Bear in. I'm sure he can flatten it.
Oh, yeah, Huggy Bear, I'm gonna flatten it, boy. I don't care what you're gonna do. We're gonna do black magic. I can't even talk proper English. I need to get a dictionary. Coffee water's where you at.
I don't know if I'm going a bit too deep. And that's what I said this time round. Do I need to slow it down? Feel free to add in your suggestions down below, okay? People that watch the videos have been very helpful at times. When it came to doing the pancakes voice, salty pancakes, a few people like Linda suggested that if I pinch my nose and sound like I've got a cold, then I'll sound like salty pancakes. And that really transformed everything at that moment. So if anyone has suggestions with Huggy Bear, improvements, to try and change it and make it sound a bit more realistic, feel free to add it in, okay? But if anyone didn't know what the salty pancakes impression voice was, I can perform it right now, okay?
So man, there's people, really calling me out saying I'm on meth. Do I really sound like I'm on meth? What the hell are you talking about? You're just a petty ass bitch. Stop being a petty ass. I'm really sick and tired of this. I can't even breathe properly. I just feel like I'm being suffocated and waterboarded by CIA interrogation. I'll probably get an alien probe me up the ass as well. What am I supposed to do? I got channel shut down. I got Facebook shut down. I don't know what I'm trying to do. So I just remembered that, I got a bit of a stutter. And one thing, with all this stuttering, people are going to think I'm going to be talking in code. If people think I'm going to be talking in code, is this some kind of Morse code? Am I some kind of, I don't know, enigma? Am I here to crack the code? No, I'm not here to crack the code. I'm here to take the coke.
Yeah. Okay. Not too bad. It actually clears your nose. Just as a quick heads up, if there's anyone watching right now, if you ever have a blocked nose, pinch your nose, do an American whiny accent, stutter a little bit, and then stop and start breathing, and it will actually clear your nose. I think this is a new remedy, the salty pancakes anti-cold remedy. There we go. So some use at the end of the day. Well, so we got Clayton.
Yo, Clayton! Get out the neighborhood, fool! What you doing, Clayton? Yo, Clay.
Come on, shoot some clay. What are you going to pull out your Glocks? No, you got the wrong pair. Oh my God, you prat. You came to the block, you brought the Glock. Turns out it was a white sock. You stole Bob Farrell's items. What are you going to do now? You're going to get run over by Bob Farrell in his mobility scooter. God! Bob Farrell going faster than Badger. My goodness. Yeah, you thought Badger Life and Weezer in the Fast and Furious series. Looks like Bob Farrell has got a turbocharger in the back and he's been rammed rear-ended by Fast Eddie and a brand new exhaust. Bob Farrell is going to be zooming past, turning into a feral animal without his white socks. And when Bob is missing his white socks, he's not the same person, man. Socks never change. But actually, I can't really finish that sentence. Inky, finish the sentence for me. Okay, let's move on. Abandoned mines. Okay, let's see what we've got. Shout out to Abandoned Mines, Unusual Places, known as Frank. Covered some very key, important videos and all kinds of stuff. If there's anyone watching right now, okay, you might follow Scott Natal, okay? So most of you will know who Scott Natal is. He's gone into mines, he's gone into caves, he's explored about. Well, if you're into that stuff, make sure to check out Exploring Abandoned Mines and Unusual Places. He's done the same, but more extensive and for a longer period of time, as well as some paranormal, creepy videos too, if you're interested in that. The name is on screen. You can check it out. He joined 17 years ago, so kind of like a YouTube original in a sense, okay? What does he say? Surprised to hear about the ongoing physical pain you have. Are you still working out? No, not at the moment. And at the time when the pain came about, it wasn't due to exercising because I wasn't there at the time. In a sense, of course, more injury to myself sat down than I have actually working out. That's funny when you think about it over time. Anything else? I've never heard about the idea of uploading 20 videos in a row to improve one's accuracy score. I don't even know what an accuracy score is. You said you uploaded all 20 videos in a single day. Maybe that was way too much, way too soon. If that really is a strategy of uploading 20 videos to improve one's score, maybe those 20 videos have to be spread out over course of a month or so. Doing them all in the same day, to me, seems like you would be trying to flood the system in order to reap benefits on your channel. I mean, straight away, Exploring Abandoned Mines and Unusual Places, the way he's explained it, this guy has actually explained it clearer, better. Frank is more competent than half of the bloody Google support team, YouTube support team, whatever. Okay. But yeah, I can understand it. 20 videos in one day seems like you're trying to, I don't know, work your way around it in an unnatural way that it could work short term, but not long term. And in a sense, that's what happened. I did my 20 videos in one day. The score went back up to high. YouTube trusted me. I should have been okay from there on then. But unfortunately, later on in the day, it went back to low. Maybe it's because YouTube detected that I uploaded too many videos in a short space of time and they thought that I was trying to cheat the system or something. I don't know. But I think at the end of the day, because YouTube, the main problem and the causation for all this to begin with, I think I was in every right to experiment and try think outside of the box at the time. But yeah, on 2 separate occasions, I did reach out to the YouTube or the Google support team, and they, on 2 separate occasions, they did confirm that if you're in a situation where your accuracy score, self-certification score is low, and that the YouTube automated system is being used to reverse that, to get the score back up to high, you do have to upload 20 videos, probably not in the same day, but over a course of time, like for however long, 20 videos in a row. And then that's when they start considering you in a trusting way once again. And that was confirmed by different people coming out with that response. So yeah, that's what it is. But it's one of those things where when you're reaching out to these people for answers, they don't immediately give you an answer. They'll just drag it out, and then they'll provide all the same old script, what you've heard thousands and thousands of times before. You can say to them, hey, I know exactly what you're about to say next. Don't bother. Skip to the end part and answer me properly. They won't. They'll still drag it out regardless. Okay. Anyway, anything else here? Doing them all in the same day to me, yeah. I don't know, like I said, I never have even heard of that strategy of uploading 20 videos. Wait until you get death threats like I have, and wait until you really do have to go to court and pay a couple of fines due to your videos like I have. YouTube definitely isn't for the faint of heart in some regards. Oh, that sounds rough, doesn't it? I mean, death threats, well, I've already received threats in the past, so I've already experienced that. As for fines and videos, I mean, I don't know what or how it applied to exploring abandoned mines when his videos are more to do with exploring away from people. I don't know what happened there, but it just shows that no one is safe, I guess, on YouTube. Probably not the best thing you want to hear, but things can happen, I guess. There we go. Who's this? Cynthia. I think I've seen Cynthia before, maybe not in recent time, but welcome back if you have popped back in. Don't know if you can see the profile picture, but Cynthia has 2 cats as a profile picture. You might have to look a bit closer to the screen, or maybe put some glasses on, or get a magnifying glass, or even a telescope, okay? But yeah, two cats, 2 black cats. One is looking right at the screen. The other one looks like it's kind of asleep. Hey Raf, keep up the great work. I don't have many creators in the true crime missing genre left, so I need you. Okay. So shout out to Cynthia. Feel free to share your thoughts. When you say you don't have that many creators left in the genre, is that because the ones you followed, their channels have been taken down, or is it because they've become inactive, or is it because they were exposed, or they turned in a bad way and then you had to get away from it? Let me know your thoughts there, okay? Christy, YouTube showing adverts on your restricted videos is not fair. They need to tell you the exact reason of why they limit your videos to fix unfixable things. I sometimes try to do the opposite of what they tell me to do in life or on YouTube, or aside from that, fair enough. If it was my channel, I would stop uploading for a week to make algorithm think you stepped away, and then come back with other 20 random videos the first day. So yeah, fair enough. I mean, maybe sometimes that could work, that method, doing the opposite, going against the matrix. Instead of entering the matrix, you go around the back door and enter that way through the exit. That's going to confuse everything, isn't it? It's one of those things where, even though I probably could take a break, or an on and off break, just break it up a little bit, slow down. It's like when I wake up the next day or so, then I'm like refreshed, which is weird if I've been doing it for a year every day. And then I'm like, oh, I need a break. Oh, and then next day I wake up and it's like, what? Oh, well, let's do a video. And as well, the times when there is something to cover, even when bad stuff is going on, it just has to be covered. It needs to be covered, right? So, I can understand the strike system. If you get a strike, you walk away, let things quieten down till the next month rolls over, and then that previous strike is wiped off your record. Yeah, it's important that so it doesn't stack. The more it stacks, the worse you're off. So you try and avoid that, but I've not really been experiencing that. And because this problem is caused through uploading videos and it can only be fixed through uploading more videos, that's really the only pattern to go, the direction. And because I have experienced it before, I know what needs to be done. It's just the timing, and that's about it. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I think the worst case scenario would be, and it doesn't even have to be a true crime video or a mystery one, I could just randomly upload a video, right, anything in general, it could get limited, and then the next day the video goes viral and it gets like 20 million views. And you look at the statistics and you think, oh, a limited video, 20 million views. Damn, I missed out on so much. That would be the worst case scenario. I would hate that to happen. So that's kind of in the back of my mind at times, which hopefully it doesn't happen. To be honest, videos in the past, which kind of grew with time, that was like before I like properly became a YouTuber. So statistically, it wasn't as hard hitting that in a sense, and I guess because it was dragged out over time, right? It wasn't you upload a video and then next thing you know, bang, 20,000 views. It was over the course of like 6-7 months. Slow growth but steady, okay, which is good. Slow, steady growth, especially with previous videos. It shows that people are still continuing with a case and following through with it. So you don't have to worry about it dying off because people are still interested. So at least we can acknowledge that. Starlight Sparkle Roblox. So shout out to Starlight, new viewer popping in, asking me, have you tried TikTok? The answer to that is yes. So Starlight Sparkle Roblox, if you go onto my channel page, my main channel page on YouTube, top right corner of the screen of the channel menu, you'll see some like little icons, and one of them should be to my TikTok page. If for whatever reason it's not there, then I'll just have to add it on afterwards, okay? But yes, I am on TikTok, okay? Do I do dance videos? No. Just do other videos, okay? And last but not least, we've got Confluence, good profile picture, saying, hey, actually, I don't know, what's that like glaring light? I know it just looks kind of aesthetic in a way. Anyway, Confluence says, hey, it took YouTube 5 weeks to remove Doug's previously stricken Revenge Live. Said the problem is their inept system. Keep nice with the spider. Keep him outside. Yeah, I don't know where the spider is now, but it's out there in the garden, so it'll be okay. So shout out to Confluence as well for their continued presence on the channel and, you know, reporting back with their own thoughts and ideas and providing updates of the situations on YouTube and what's going on there. It's good of them. So yeah, we've got through all of those comments. Finally, I think it's now time to move on to the main part of this video. So if you have just suddenly joined, welcome. If you want to rewind back, you can do. But if you're here for the main part of this video, we're here, right now, and that's what we're going to be looking at next. Shout out to the people that are currently watching and consistently watching, and the people that have been just consistent in general as well as patient. Appreciate that. So what I just want to highlight as a very important point before we go on any further, and just to reiterate it, what I'm about to share with you is like public information. It's all publicly viewable. The Facebook account of Dylan Rounds is public. Anyone can see it, okay? Just wanted to highlight that. Just like Dylan's TikTok page. And then the contents upon that page profile is public as well. Just wanted to let you know about that, okay? Just to reduce any unwanted tension from people further afar. And the aim of looking at this is because I've never looked at it before, okay, on my channel. And I want to see if there's any similarities compared to the TikTok page of Dylan's. I want to see if there's anything odd that stands out, and maybe you yourself might pick up on something interesting. There's no harm in checking. It shouldn't cause that much damage at the end of the day. And also to highlight once again is it's best advised not to start a witch hunt on people, such as like in the comments or in a response to one of the posts or so, because it won't do much good. It'll just cause further issues, okay? So let's head on over to the Facebook page right now and see what's present. Here we are, you can see the Facebook page of Dylan's. The background, the channel art just appears to be of the sky, but what, in Lucin, Utah, Idaho, not quite sure. You can see like a little object in the corner of the screen. I don't know if that's like a water tower, a roof, a tractor or something, but it doesn't really mean much. Just wanted to point it out first of all. As for the profile picture, that checks out the same as Dylan's TikTok page, okay? The Trump-Pence, so voting back whenever it was. Right. I believe there was also like a Trump-Pence or something on one of the doors of Saddle Sore Bar in the past when Salty Pancakes went down to visit. Just another random little observation, what it reminds me of, okay? I do remember in the past, though, there was a comment by someone claiming that Dylan's profile picture changed. That after Dylan's disappearance, his profile picture changed at some point. Now, my question would be, what was the original profile picture and why did it change? Is it strange that people had access to his account at the time? No, because family, friends probably would have checked for it, like how they said they did, to see if there was any hints or clues, just like how they checked Dylan's bank account at the time. But really, if they did go through the account, then what was the point in changing the profile picture? What does that actually do? You get what I'm saying? I mean, if it was suddenly changed now, I would understand because of Dylan's legacy, just honouring him in remembrance, right? I mean, what I would say personally is, besides that, is why are the accounts still public? So this Facebook one, why is it still public? And the TikTok page, you know, you look at the Dylan Rounds TikTok page, he's got hundreds of followers, and with time, he'll probably gain more and more. And that sounds a bit weird and odd, right? But it would just simply be because Dylan Rounds, mentioned in the news, gains traction, people become interested in the story. Some people will think, oh, maybe if I add Dylan Rounds as a friend on TikTok and send a private DM, he might reply back. You know, weird stuff like that. And maybe fans as well, and then other dodgy people. So even though the person has likely passed away and obviously still missing, remains not found, their online account may increase statistically. There might be influxes. Does that make sense? Kind of like Kenny Veach. Kenny Veach, before going missing, when he uploaded the odd few videos to his channel, including older ones which were deleted, which was odd, he had a small following of people. Still a decent sized channel, but not like massive. But then obviously after his disappearance, the mystery coverage and all the big channels mentioning it, obviously people flocked to his channel. Subscribers went up, total views went up on the channel, right? Like that. And it seems as if the only time when traction, popularity is gained is when you yourself have gone missing or been taken out of the world, right? Not always, but in these cases, that's what's happened. I think it would have been best to privatize all the different accounts and channels. It would have made more sense, in my opinion. If someone has passed away, it makes sense to close the account or set it private. So then you're not going to get any dodgy people reaching out or any forms of harassment or, you know, I know some people might like leave a comment on the post, such as on Dylan's, and say, rest in peace, or I'm sorry for what's happened, you know, sending prayers and wishes and all of that. Whilst it's nice, maybe, you know, family members or friends don't want to be reminded of it. And if they have access to that account, and whether they go on it or not, they might be reminded. So I don't know, it just seems more respectful privating the account. I know some people do out there when there's tragedies, but not everyone has done. So maybe down the line, once the case may have been successful and justice has finally been served, they might end up closing down some of these accounts, right? So I guess it's worth documenting it here at this moment in time so we can always look back on it, okay? See about Dylan's info. We just have a quick look here. As I said, it's all public. Okay. Few friends. So you can see that, Justin, obviously friends with his dad on Facebook so they can communicate like in the past more so. But you see JD. Okay, you got JD. Is that the JD? I think it could be, but the profile picture looks a bit different. Yeah. Okay, so you've got photos there. We'll get to them shortly. Likes. What does he like? Are these channel pages? Burley Iron Works, Brett Jensen Farms, Brandon Gill, Barclay Truck Rebuilders, Albert Einstein, 208 Chrome Shop. Interesting. Is there any additional ones? Oh yeah, there is. The reason why we look at this, okay, is it will highlight possibly Dylan Round's interest, what he was following at the time, what he was interested in, a company, some kind of page, a public speaker, an individual, former president, that type of stuff. So whilst we look for it, anyone in the chat, if you notice anything out of the ordinary or if there's anything that reminds you of whatever, make sure to let everyone else know in the live chat and even the comment section too. So Dylan Rounds following or liking Wine Cup Gamble Ranch. Interesting. Wine Cup Gamble Ranch, which I believe it's not to do with Dan Iverson. Dan Iverson is more, contracted in relation to Bar O Ranch and is it Payne with a Y, Payne Ranch .m, and then you've got the other individual, the other guy, what was his name again? Randy, was it Randy? Who's contracted to Wine Cup Gamble Ranch and the Independence Valley area, which Dylan Rounds did custom farm work for. Randy, down in Independence Valley, and Dylan Rounds also doing custom farm work for Dan Iverson before going missing. So for Wine Cup Gamble Ranch to be mentioned here, seems likely that Dylan Rounds either did custom farm work for Wine Cup Gamble Ranch or communicated in some way in the past. Right, with these key names as mentioned before. So that follows up there, makes sense. Utah hay sales, what, actual hay which you purchase, okay, farm related, makes sense. United Hauling Trucking Company, okay, has that got anything to do with Candice Cooley or Justin Rounds trucking companies or any of that, or like Dylan Rounds looking elsewhere? Involved with. We've got underestimated truck and trailer repairs. Okay, so maybe if Dylan Rounds used to take his vehicle somewhere to be repaired or get spare parts, these are the type of places he might look up to. Trinity Trailer, MFG. Trinity Trailer, so is that like farming trailers, living quarters, RV trailer maybe? Because as we know, Dylan had 2 white trailers at his farm. The IH Trader International, the High Point Companies, whatever that is. Sun Valley Potatoes. Oh no. No, anything but the potatoes. Oh Jesus, why did it have to be the potatoes? I really hope they weren't picked by the potato pickers. If they were picked by the potato pickers, 1, 2, 3, they need to run away, right now, mister. Yeah, so, I mean, potatoes, farming, planting, growing, etc., selling them, buying them, yeah, I get that, it's understandable. Okay, so what, is this John Deere branded stuff? Or, well, no, it says Stotts equipment application. So, yeah, a lot of stocks. Is that the equipment he might have purchased at the time? Things being delivered which weren't paid for when they were supposed to be, maybe. Stahel West Spudnik equipment. I've heard of Spudnik equipment. Is that because when we've been on the maps in the past and we looked at Burley, Idaho, that farming store? I wonder if Spudnik's was, located there. I wonder. Southern Idaho Truck Show. Yeah, fair enough. That makes sense. Interested in that. Family. Interested too with trucks. SK Fab Works. That looks like some kind of Polaris ATV or off-road vehicle. That makes sense as well due to desert terrain. Riri Grain and Feed Coop Co-op. Okay. Rigby Middle FFA. I don't know what that means. Rigby High School. I guess that's where Dylan Rounds came from. Trojans with a Spartan helmet. Wait, Rigby High School Trojans. Doesn't the UFC sponsor Trojan as well? Added protection. Oh, is that something else? My brain failed on me just then. Rigby FFA, whatever that is. Pottinger with a what do you call it? The British flag. The British flag. United Kingdom. Oh no, am I really from this country? What else do we have? Pungo River Cattle. That's a big... Is that a cow or a bull? It's a big one. Platinum Fabrication LLC. Pivots Plus LLC. What did Dylan buy parts from that regarding his own pivot on his farm? I wonder. His main line, his new main line. Maybe it ties in with one of his posts when we look at some of the photos. Park Valley, Utah. Wow, Park Valley. We've looked at Park Valley in the past when it came to that Chase Venstra situation where he was supposedly down there at a point and then the police went down there to find him or look for him at least. Yeah, I remember that. And then we were looking at the Park Valley Cemetery possibilities. That was something buried down there. Was Chase Venstra doing anything dodgy in the area? Yeah, it reminds me now. Osgood Store. Oh, Coca-Cola Classic, Sprite, Coke. Okay, just drinks from the looks of it on the screen. Moving on, some kind of trucking reference. Mountain View Equipment. Meanwhile in Idaho. Wait, is that woman wearing a potato sack for clothing? Some kind of fashion show or something? I don't know. Is it called a pin-up or something? A farming pin-up? Inky, help me out here. I'm not trying to make sense of it. Wow Pins, another farming company from the looks of it. Crone America California. Jones Media Team. What's that all about? John Deere, of course, it makes sense for Dylan Rounds to follow John Deere. J Transport. J who? Is J Transport anything to do with the flying... Was it called the Flying J in Snowville, Utah? I wonder. International Harvester. He also follows Impeach Joe Biden. Okay, that was kind of random. Idaho Hay and Forage. IH Power History. IH Dealer and Dealerships. Grouse Creek Store. Grouse Creek 4th of July Rodeo. Gasser's Garage. I think I may have seen that. Fox News. Foster Cattle, City of Hazleton, Cinder Butty, C-Bar, LLC, Burley Iron Works. That stands out to me, that. City of Hazleton. Oh, yeah, that stands out as well, right? Yeah. Okay. So the Burley Iron Works, probably a place Dylan Rounds visited, I don't know about regularly, but definitely in the past, because we've heard about Dylan going down to Burley, Idaho, just before going missing, so... Seems like a place where there's all kinds of, stores, locations to visit, right place, right time for someone like Dylan. Brett Jensen Farms. Who is Brett Jensen Farms? Is that in Montello, Lucin, Idaho? Somewhere in Idaho. Brandon Jill stood next to Donald Trump. Okay. I think we've seen that Dylan at the time supported Donald Trump, so that explains why he's got the impeach Biden one on her. Barclay Truck Rebuilders, I think I've heard of that before. 208 Chrome Shop and Albert Einstein. That's kind of, well, I don't know, it kind of seems a bit random that. Dylan Rounds, into farming, passionate about it, and then following Albert Einstein. I wonder what that's all about. Similar personalities, similar mindset, focus, any symbolisms there. Let me know your thoughts down below, okay? So backing out of that, back onto Dylan's main page, let me know if anything stood out to you there as for the likes, the interest he had, or pages he was following at the time. Anything stand out, anything linking to Dylan's farming or the area or people Dylan Rounds involved himself with at the time. Scroll down, we got the friends section. We can avoid that because we have mainly seen it and we don't want to come across any key names, don't cause too many issues. Right, here we are. Dylan Rounds updated his cover photo. So the cover photo, what we saw at the top, that banner of the sky, that's what this photo was referencing. I get that. Posted 20th of October 2021 at nearly 2,300 hours. Okay, 18 likes, 4 comments. Now, if I just zoom on in, there we go. Oh, I'm glad we can zoom in. It's so much better this, instead of having to save the photo and then, I don't know, do it for a slideshow. Have we seen this before? Well, from the looks of it, visually speaking, this looks like the same pivot, and maybe the same time when it was taken, in comparison to Dylan Round's TikTok page. Does everyone remember that? Dylan Round's TikTok page where it was like the sunset. Dylan is stood there near to this pivot and he pans the camera all the way around, showing the landscape and the farmland and the views in the distance. You remember that? And it was like some country music playing in the background. Well, this looks like a still shot from when that was taken at the time. Now, question is on the spot, where is this exactly? Is this in Lucin, Utah? Possibly. Is this Dylan Round's own pivot, own main line? Does anyone know? Let me know if, visually speaking, if this reminds you of anything, okay? It's hard to tell. I mean, in the distance, you do have mountains, but I don't know if that's like the border between Lucin, Utah, and Montello, Nevada. I'm not quite sure. We don't have the compass or directions at this moment. But the ground itself does look wet, so it shows that the pivot was in use at the time, watering the ground, wetting it. I get that. It's on wheels. Zoom on out if possible. Does it? Yeah, it does do that. Gotta be careful. Ends up shooting you off. Justin Rounds, 2 years ago. Is that with the new main line? Brad. I saw that photo and asked him the same thing last night. Dylan Rounds responding. No, that was the old main line before it started leaking all over. Right, so 2 years ago before Dylan going missing, experiencing leakage problems with that pivot, that main line. Right. I know people have said that with the main line, the pivot, that maintaining it, preventing it from leaking, is kind of like a regular occurrence or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I heard by other people at the time, right? So, okay. I saw that photo. Is that the new main line? No, that was the old main line before it started leaking. Right, so 2 years ago, Dylan had a new main line because the one before that was leaking, and Dylan was showing an old photo of the original main line he had before he got the new one. Right, Denise Cooley, family member, I don't know who that is. Okay. So I just wanted to share that photo with you in case it reminded you of anything, or if it started new discussions off with the main line itself, because I know that has come into play. As for the main line itself, is there any more photos? There's one there. As for the main line itself, the last interview with Candice Cooley, Justin Rounds on the East Idaho News Channel, Justin Rounds said himself that they have checked the grain shed property, they've checked the pond, they've checked Dylan's farm, they've checked the main line several times, and they're very confident that they have looked deep, and they've put time and effort in covering those locations and doing it several times, as well as digging up the main line completely all over again and not finding anything. So let me know your thoughts about that. That's what Justin Round said at the time. Okay. Just zoom on out. Okay. What's this one? 3rd of November 2020, 20th of October. Oh, so a year before or so. 3rd of November 2020 at 10:49. So once again, it's same photo. So suggests it's the old photo of the main line, but just an update to his channel page or something, or custom image with the Trump Pence on the front screen, which you'd assume is Dylan Rounds on the snowmobile. Comment section. Done. Oh, that was just voting at the time, elections. Fair enough. Okay, we've got a different photo here. I've not seen this one before. 20th of October 2020 at 10:07. Look at that. No comments, though. 5th of January 2020 at 23:50. Same photo again. Weird. Comment. Denise Cooley, looks like you're having fun. Oh, so it's of this photo, Dylan on his snowmobile, which was used as his profile picture later on and for his TikTok page too. Now, I don't think that's the snowmobile that was used and entered in by Dylan's friends in honour and memory of Dylan during that competition, if you remember, what Candice Cooley reposted on her page or the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page, because I don't remember seeing those yellow stickers on the side, so maybe there was another snowmobile owned by Dylan at the time. And the final one here, 17th of November 2019 at 23:57. So we'll look at this one first of all. What's this all about? Is this an old retro photo? I'd assume so. I don't think it was a filter, because this is black and white, unless it was a black and white filter. Or is this like how farming was back in the day? Well, maybe not so much that back in the day, but back when, before Dylan, the last known set of farmers in Lucin were trying and attempting to grow crops and create a pivot or something. Is this of Lucin, Utah back in the past, or Montello, Nevada? If anyone knows, feel free to explain. If it is Lucin, Utah, I mean, it looks okay. Seems to be vegetation or a pivot going on, a main line. In the distance, what are they, like overhead lines or so? Is that near a road or a railroad track? It could be a road. I think I can see some trucks in the distance, unless that's farming equipment parked up on the side. There's no caption to this photo, so it's kind of a guessing game, but it does look like an old retro one in the past, black and white. Is it just like to highlight farming back then and how it's evolved since? But maybe in the Lucin, Utah case, not so much evolving, more so going backwards, because no one else wanted to farm out there because of the conditions. It being desolate, away from all kinds of resources and places, and the ground as well, the high salt levels, not good for growing crops and stuff. People have given up with time. Dylan Rounds seeking it as a challenge to try and be successful, I guess. Motivated by the past, wanting to recreate it, bring it back to the golden days, possibly. Yeah. Zoom on out. Let's look at that other photo, this one. This does look like Lucin, Utah. Yeah, it does look like Lucin, Utah. I don't know if it's even possible to do it on the spot, but being honest with you, when I look at it from this direction, it looks as if over there, Not the big mountains, but the little mound in front is Lucin Hill. Bald Eagle Mountain is there in the distance, and Pilot Peak is over there. Am I correct in saying that? And then Patterson Pass is kind of like over that way. You see that white line? I could be wrong, but it just looks like that's the border, to be honest. And then over that way, down there, is Tacoma Road, which continues on, crosses over the border and goes into Montello, Nevada. So then where's the pond? Well, the pond area would be somewhere over that way, but before Lucin Hill. Very bright sunset down there. Wow. Like Tyler has arrived, descended from the sky. So there's that photo. As for that attachment, that trailer, that I guess that's used for what, turning up the ground or scraping it or doing something farm-related work. Okay. Obviously, I'm not an expert. Anything else to highlight about it? It's probably still there at the property, I would assume. Yeah. You take in mind about the dates as well. The dates align with when Dylan Rounds got out there, where the previous, when it was bought, and going 50-50 with the grandfather, money, cost-wise, and then beginning the farming from there on, taking time to build up and get to where he was going to be at before going missing, as described by Candice Cooley. So an interesting photo this, good perspective, good distance. And I guess it is true that when you do see mountains in the distance, you can kind of understand which direction you're facing or going in, as described by Lance Kelly in one of his previous hiking videos out there. You do see track marks, of course, nothing dodgy or out of the ordinary there. That's just from that trailer attachment from the looks of it. And this photo taken by Dylan Rounds at the time, just after doing farm work maybe. Looks like it's getting later on into the evening, approaching night time. Yeah, did provide a bit of backstory to Dylan Rounds doing late night farm work, possibly, hence reinforcing what he supposedly did at 23:30 to 23:45, the 27th of May 2022, Friday night, as described by witnesses in the area near Little Pigeon Mountains, camping out there in Lucin, Utah. Yeah. So, as I said, let me know if you notice anything out of the ordinary. What it is now time to do is move on to the next outside of the box thought. What's it called? A think tank? I think that's what other people use. Anyway, let's move on. So just once again, if you have suddenly joined, be sure to rewind back to catch up on the main part of this video, okay? At this moment in time, I want to share with you my thoughts of the future of the Dylan Rounds case, okay? I know we've done polls with time, and a fair few people have said that Dylan Rounds probably won't be found by the end of this year. I think that's what it was, right? Like, it could be years on. It could drag out, and that's like worst case scenario. Well, no, actually, worst case scenario is it drags out, and in that time, Brenner passes away, and then that key to Dylan's location, his remains, isn't there. Like, that opportunity is no longer available. So who else do you look to? I'd probably say, okay, as a little prediction, okay, on top of what I was going to talk about, so just make sure you're listening right now. If it got to the point where the case dragged on and Brenner passed away, I think desperation would kick in, and maybe Justin Rounds would then seek answers from Don Hatley, possibly. What we do need to highlight, though, is Don Hatley is older than Brenner. So really, Don Hatley likely would be the one to pass first, then Brenner. But it doesn't always work out like that. Unexpected things can happen, health-related issues too. But who's more healthier at this moment in time, Brenner or Don Hatley? Yeah, Brenner's locked up, but he's away from alcohol. He's eating a bit more cleaner, lost weight, got away from those withdrawal side effects. As for Don Hatley, he's walking free. And when we have seen some photos, Don Hatley was significantly bigger than Brenner. So that can have its own possible health-related issues. If Don Hatley passes first in the future, further on, is it as much of a loss to Justin Rounds, Candice Cooley? Maybe not. I mean, the grandparents may feel sad because they got on well with Don Hatley in the past. So there'd be that. As for answers, I think it could actually annoy Justin Rouse in a sense. If Justin has been calling out Don on and off on Facebook, if Don was just to pass away like that, I think it would annoy Justin, because it's like supposed justice has not been reached, that Don was able to go to the grave holding a secret as described by Justin in a cryptic post in the past, right? That could follow. So I think it could have side effects there with Justin, not in a good way. But if it's the other way around, I was saying that my prediction would be, if Brenner passes first, then Justin might visit Don Hatley and get him to answer, force a confession, or get something out of it. I think that's what will be the case, right? But that's further on into the future, okay? As for a bit before that, if the case does drag on, does it ever get to a point where it remains unsolved, or it's labelled as an unsolved mystery or an unsolved disappearance case, missing person case? What I'm trying to say is, when you do get these active cases, you'll get an audience, you'll get people following it for a certain length of time. You might get returning people or an influx of new viewers coming on in if there is breaking news. But if it starts stagnating, reaches a bit of a dead end, people out there, the friends, family, and whoever else are still trying to search, but it's gone quiet. That's like the stage what we've reached right now in the case. And because of that, due to that lack of coverage online, it kind of fades away, kind of dies down a little bit. Interest is lost. People move on to the next latest, hottest topic until maybe breaking news brings them back, right? But then you look at the Kenny Veach case. Yes, it's not true crime, but it is a missing person one. And 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, whatever it is onwards, the case is still being covered, or at least there is still interest in people searching for the videos, watching them, looking at other YouTubers around Kenny Veach. That hasn't faded away. There's been big influxes at times where more people have started watching out of nowhere, but it's always been there in the background. It's never like truly gone. Does that make sense? I heard about it in 2015. I started covering it early 2020, okay? From 2015 to 2020, I looked at the case on and off with the odd random video online, right? So there's levels of coverage back then and interest. And then after 2020, arguably more interest, because I guess with lockdown, people not being as busy, looking elsewhere, researching online, led to that, right? So you get the idea there. It's not been solved, but at the same time, it's not really being covered by news articles, the true news shows, nor the family online. Yet it still gauges the attention of viewers. Maybe because it's more of a mystery, maybe because it comes with a second part, which is the cave itself, a two-parter, so that might be why it gauges more interest, because it's not just a simple missing person case, it's got an addition to it. But then again, with Dylan Rounds, that's got an addition to it as well, because it's a true crime one, so it should remain somewhat active for some time. But if it ever becomes an unsolved case, turning possibly into a cold case, which I can't imagine that truly happening, because the family will be very determined to keep on going no matter what. But if some interpreted it, or some people out there, the general public, labelled it themselves as a cold case, is that when people then start getting more interested in it once again, or when you start getting a new audience of people? If you haven't catched on already, what I'm referring to is kind of basing it off my channel, but it most definitely can apply to other people as well. If I covered a Kenny Veach video, posted it now, a certain amount of people would watch it, regular viewers, etc. The next wave of people would be the people somewhat interested in the case, catching up on the latest stuff. They would watch it, and then it'd probably slow down. Really, no one else watches it from there on. Everyone who's interested in that theme, that topic, watches it. And then once that's done, that's it, until a new set of people come on in. And that can happen months on, a year on. a massive influx, a small influx. It can happen and then more people come on in. And maybe later down the line, it happens again and again. Does that make sense? You get that instant rush of people because of regular viewers, people following the channel, people want to keep up to date with the case. You get that. And then afterwards, you get small clumps of people coming on in, viewing it out of interest of the case when they've been alerted to it at any point in time. That doesn't apply to Dylan Round's case. I upload a video, everyone or whoever watches it. A couple of days later, a few more people catch up who weren't able to watch it live at the time. And then that's it. Really, no one else watches it. Does that highlight that it's simply because the community of the Dylan Rounds case is small? It's not exactly a small community, but where other people could be centered is on different platforms. Could be that, like the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page, 35,000 members or something, or 15,000 members, around that range. Obviously, not all of them will be watching the videos here because they might not know about it or they might not be interested for certain reasons, right? But it seems like you upload a video to do Dylan Rounds, so many people watch it, and then after that, it doesn't change statistically or much at all. No one else watches. In like a week's time, a month's time, it kind of reaches like a cap, a certain limit of views. Is that by YouTube? No, I wouldn't say so. I think it's just simply because the Dylan Rounds case is more of a niche case now than what it was back then. Okay, so less people follow up on it. Less people, less likely to follow up on it, I would say. Does that make sense? So if we're talking about the future, could it get to that point where the Dylan Rounds case reignites interest because it's gone so cold that people are wondering what's going on? So then they end up looking back and researching on previous videos, such as my channel and my coverage. It's probably not going to happen with other channels out there because they're no longer around. That their archive stuff is no longer present on YouTube. That even though the Shack Lady might be present on YouTube, she's moved in a different direction now, covering other stuff. That her lives and all the previous coverage back then has all gone or been privatized. So if anyone does step into the Dylan Rounds case in the future, making sense of it, a new YouTuber, a new audience, whatever, a new wave of people, where are they going to go? Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Are they going to think, right, let's look back at all the documentation in the past of the case, or let's just go in the deep end and guess and theorize? I wonder. Or will it be that no one will look at this case down the line, that no one will view these videos in a year or two time because there's no real need to? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you upload a football video, a random highlight, a singing video, that's in a way timeless. People will always, some people will come back to it. Other people will come and go and listen to it here and there. If it's popular, of course, and if it's favorited by YouTube, that does play a role. Some stuff, though, other things can be dated and no longer looked at. Good example would be missing people that have been found safe and secure. You wouldn't expect anyone to really view videos on that case. Looking back, if you're looking back at a person that's been found, less people are likely to look back at the videos covering the person who was missing at the time because they've been found now. So all that research and video coverage is irrelevant because the person's been found now. Does that make sense? Whereas a case where someone hasn't been found and it's still ongoing, you're probably more likely to look back to catch up on everything and to see what was missed. What have people found along the way? Can I add on to it? So I think that's really the factor. Cold case, long term, can revitalize things when people come back and may look back at previous videos by other people uploaded documenting the case. A situation where someone has been found, then obviously less likely for people to look back at the past videos. I think so. And then in the middle, there's additional factors which tie in multiple mysteries within the missing person case, like Kenny Veach. as main driving force behind it all. So let me know your thoughts down below about that. Do you think groups of people will look back at this in years' time or months' time? Do you think people will look back and do the research? And I don't mean regular people that might take some time to look back at past findings. I mean brand new people, a new wave, a new audience. Will they ever come back or look back? I wonder. Providing on the context that Dylan is not found within the next year or two. Something like that. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you do have questions or grievances, list them down below. Overall though, I hope you enjoyed the video, you found it somewhat interesting, the material presented. If you noticed anything out of the ordinary, list it down below and provide a timestamp if necessary. We'll leave it there for now. Thanks for watching, see you next time, goodbye and good night.